Welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil, and I've been practicing every day for 90 days ahead of Vegas so that I can try and improve my SRR. So today's discussion is about SRR. What is it? How do you use it? And is it accurate? So let's start at the beginning. SRR is a 7 to roll ratio. 7 to roll ratio. So in dice, long story short, if you throw 36 times in a just random throws, the 7 should come up 6 times. Let's go over that. I know the advanced players, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to go over this real quick. So if you're setting up, there are 6 possible combinations. There's the 5 and the 2. There's the 3 and the 4. There's the 2 and the 5. There is the 4 and the 3. And then we have the 6 and the 1 and the 1 and the 6. So those are the 6 ways that these dice randomly throw that the 7 will come up. It's the only number that comes up the most often of all the dice that we throw. The 7 comes up the most. That's why it's our enemy. The 7 is our enemy. Our goal for dice control throwing is to try and throw as long as we can between the 7s popping up. From the first time you throw it and you're out, 7'd out, and it comes around, and then you throw it again till that second 7. And just so we know, in all kinds of dice control, you're gonna throw it. It's gonna happen. This is not something that we can play all day and not throw that 7. Statistically, it's gonna come up. Now, hopefully you have 40, 50, 60, 70 throws before it rears its ugly head again. But if you play your cards right and you practice every day and lower the chances of throwing a 7, then you're going to make money, right? That's always when I start off the show, I always say, I'm trying to make you better at this. And at the end of the show, I say, if you can throw for a long time, you're going to make money. So the only way to throw for a long time is to avoid this ugly word, the 7, right? So how are we going to do that? We got to track. And I don't know who invented it. I don't know who talked about it first, but somebody said, hey, let's track how many throws we throw between 7s. And let's put that in a spreadsheet and determine a number. And that number will tell us how many times we throw in between our 7s. So a random thrower who just picks up the dice every day and throws it down here is going to throw a 7 every 6 times. Now that's statistics, obviously, right? For our advanced throwers, we know it shows its ugly head more often than that, sometimes less often. So we want to cut that down. So when we're doing math, you take the 36 times and you divide it by the 6 and you get a 6. So a random thrower is a 6. They start off with a 6. So how do we determine our SRR? Same thing. You throw for a bunch of times. Say I throw 36 times and I only throw 5. Well, then my SRR is higher than the 6. It's in the 7s or 8s. It can be up as 9s, 10s. Some of our really advanced coaches, their numbers are so high they won't even tell us what they are. So the higher you're in between throws of 7s, the more money you're going to make. That's the bottom line. So if we're talking about how to use it now, every day I track my 36 throws on my practice. I put it into the computer, that bone thrower spreadsheet. It spits out the SRR right away, and it'll let me know. Today's throw, my SRR 36, I was a 12. I only threw a few 7s in 36 throws, so I had a 12 SRR. Now that doesn't mean I'm on fire. We have to do thousands of throws to determine what our SRR is. You're not going to determine this over 5 throws, 10 throws, 20 throws. You've got to do lots and lots and lots of throws. That's why I started off my 90 days with 360 throws. I found out my SRR was 6.23, which is just barely over random, and that was not pleasing to me. So I wanted to improve that. I want to be up in the 7s, 8s, and 9s so that I'll throw, if I can throw 9 times in between my 7s, I'm going to make some money. Everybody's going to make money. So that's what we're trying to do here. Avoid the 7. Now, I use it by tracking. And is there other ways that we can track how good we're throwing? A lot of people determine how many box numbers they're throwing, which could be good, because if a box number, you're throwing box numbers, it doesn't matter how many 7s you throw. If you're hitting them consistently and more often, then you're going to make money. So have any of you pros out there figured out another way of tracking how good you're doing? There are several other ways out there. I found the SRR, it just kind of keeps me in check and see how I'm doing compared to others that have an SRR on their mind. If you do, please send me some feedback on what you do or how you determine how you're doing. Some people like to track the hard ways. They like to see if you're tracking the hard ways or if you're on axis or off axis. Those are important things too, because if you're consistently off axis or on axis, depending on your set, can determine how well you're going to make money. So there's a lot of factors out there. I personally like the fact that I don't want to throw a 7, and I think this helps me with that number. Now, a caveat to this. A lot of times I'm below random, which is frustrating. When I was throwing that 360 times to start off, I was below 6 for a long time. It took me a few days to get out of that sink. So you can't always rely on SRR. I thought my throw was doing well. Was it just some random bad luck? Maybe. Was I overcorrecting or undercorrecting to get my SRR below 6? So just make sure everybody understands. When you're tracking these and you're a control thrower and you're working on your SRR, you're going to dip below. It's inevitable. Remember, this is a long, you need thousands of throws in there to determine how your throw is. And even if you throw 1,000 times, what are your last 200 or 300, not your whole kit and caboodle? Because what have you done for me lately? That's what I want to see for SRR. I want to see how I'm doing right before I go down to a casino. Do I have the numbers to back up what I'm doing? So when I get to the table, I'm confident enough. And it's a mental game too. We'll talk a lot about that, mental game. When you get to that casino, how can you prepare mentally and physically so you can throw, and then don't even worry about your SRR. You just got there. You used your SRR in practice to see how you can fix yourself and see if you're doing well. Once you're there, SRR is out the window. Now it's game day. It's a Super Bowl. You're at the precipice of doing something great, and this is when you take that SRR, throw it away, and just work on making sure you throw for a long time. So let's sum up what we're talking about today. SRR, the 7 to roll ratio. We talked about how you get it and how you keep track of it. We talked about how to use it in a practice setting. And then we talked about, do you need it? Once you're there and it's game day, that's where you want to make sure you throw that away and then you try and throw for a long time. That's all you need to do. So tune in tomorrow where we're going to be talking about our throw practice. We're going to talk about the set. So once we've done the grip and the turn, tomorrow is about setting. So this little function right here, determining your set right before you throw. We're going to talk a lot about that. So hope you tune in. Give me some feedback. If you want something for me to talk about, I'll try and put it up in some upcoming videos. And remember, the best betting strategy is throwing for a long, long time, not the SRR.